The crystal screen glowed blue in the dark room. Tiskara pressed her thin fingers against the cold metal desk and stared at the numbers. Something was wrong. The patrol ship Silent Wing had sent its daily report 3 hours late. The numbers didn't make sense. Energy readings were too high. Movement patterns looked strange. Then the ship went quiet. Another ghost signal, she whispered to herself. Tiskara was the only one left of her people. The Velyrans had skin like clear crystal and could see energy patterns that other races could not. 50 years ago, the humans had destroyed her home world. Now she worked for the hegemony, the great alliance that ruled the galaxy. The hegemony said humans were all dead. The war had ended when the last human ship was destroyed. The galaxy was safe now. No more Deathworlders. No more terror from the creatures that came from the worst planet in space. But the numbers on her screen told a different story. She touched the crystal implant behind her ear. The device let her see deeper into the data than normal eyes could. The patrol ship had found something in the dead zone. That was what they called the empty space where human worlds used to be. The energy signature looked familiar. It looked like human technology. But that was impossible. All humans were dead. Officer Ka'ara. The voice made her jump. Fleet Commander Vorthak stood in the doorway. He was tall and gray, with 4 arms and small black eyes. His species, the Krell, had joined the hegemony after the humans were gone. Yes, Commander? Ka'ara closed the data files quickly. The High Command wants your report on the patrol losses. Vorthak walked into the room. His metal boots made sharp sounds on the floor. 3 ships this month have gone silent in the dead zone. Equipment failure, she said. Old radiation from the war. It damages ships that get too close. This was a lie. She knew it was a lie, but she needed more time to study the data. Vorthak stared at her with his small eyes. You are the expert on human technology. Your people fought them before the hegemony saved you. Tiskara felt cold. Her people hadn't been saved. They had been conquered, just like everyone else. The hegemony only kept her alive because she could read human energy patterns. She was useful. The humans are gone, she said. The data shows nothing but empty space. Good. Vorthak turned to leave, then stopped. The High Command is planning. New colonies in the dead zone. Rich worlds empty now. We need to be sure they are safe. After he left, Tiskara opened the files again. Her crystal skin glowed softly as she worked. The ability that made her useful also made her dangerous. She could see things others could not. The patrol ship, Silent Wing, had found 3 objects moving through space. The computer called them asteroids. But asteroids did not move in perfect formation. Asteroids did not have energy shields. She enhanced the image. The objects were ships. Old human ships, but changed, modified. The hull patterns were wrong. The energy output was impossible. These ships were using technology that did not exist 50 years ago. Her hands shook as she worked. If humans were alive, if they had been hiding and building new ships, then everything the hegemony said was a lie. Everything she believed was wrong. She found more data buried in the ship's final transmission. The human ships had not attacked the patrol vessel. They had scanned it, studied it. Then they had simply left. The Silent Wing had tried to follow them and disappeared. Tiskara leaned back in her chair. Her people told stories about humans. They called them Deathworlders because they came from a planet that should have killed them. Instead, it made them strong. It made them adapt. It made them survive things that would destroy any other race. The stories said humans never gave up. They never surrendered. They found ways to win when winning was impossible. If the stories were true, then maybe the humans had not died in the war. Maybe they had hidden. Maybe they had been waiting. She copied the data to a hidden drive. This was dangerous. If the hegemony found out she was keeping secrets, they would kill her. But she had to know the truth. The door opened again. This time it was Security Chief Nalkes. The insect-like creature clicked its mandibles as it spoke. Random inspection. Officer Ka'ara, please step away from your workstation. Ka'ara felt her crystal skin grow cold. They knew. Somehow, they knew she had found something. "Is there a problem?" she asked. "Routine security check. Your recent work has shown irregularities." Nalkes moved to her computer. "You have been accessing classified patrol data. I am analyzing equipment failures. It is my job. Your job is to confirm that the dead zone is empty, nothing more." The security chief's claws danced over the keyboard. "Interesting. You have been studying energy patterns that match human technology." Ka'ara said nothing. Her heart beat fast in her chest. "You have been flagged as a contaminated asset," Nalkes said. "Your exposure to human technology may have affected your judgment. You will be transferred to a new position." "What position?" "You will join the cleansing mission to the dead zone. Your expertise will help us eliminate any remaining threats." Ka'ara felt the world spin around her. A cleansing mission meant a battle fleet. It meant they were going to destroy whatever was out there. If humans were alive, the hegemony was going to finish what they started 50 years ago. But as they led her away from her workstation, she smiled. They thought she was contaminated by human ideas. They had no idea how right they were. She had seen the truth in the data. The humans were not just alive. They were stronger than before, and soon, the galaxy would remember why they were called Deathworlders. The crystal implant behind her ear held a copy of everything she had learned. The hegemony could take her computer, but they could not take her memories. The hunt was about to begin, but this time she was not sure who was the hunter and who was the prey. The hegemony warfleet was the largest Ka'ara had ever seen. 200 ships from 12 different species, all heading toward the dead zone. The flagship Eternal Conquest was so big, it had its own gravity. She sat in the sensor room, watching the stars move past the windows. Her new job was simple: find human technology and mark it for destruction. They called it a cleansing mission, but she knew it was murder. "Contact ahead," called sensor operator Plixhan. The blue-skinned Vorthon was young and excited. Single ship moving slowly through the asteroid field. Fleet Admiral Corvex leaned over the tactical display. He was old and scarred, with cybernetic implants covering half his face. "Size and class?" "Small. Maybe a scout ship. Hull design is unusual." Plixhan frowned at his readings. "Energy signature matches pre-war human technology, but the power output is wrong. Too high." Ka'ara activated her crystal implant. Through the enhanced sensors, she could see what the others could not. The ship was human, but it had been changed. Modified, improved. "It's damaged," she said quietly. "Hull plating is old. Weapon systems look broken." This was another lie. The ship was not damaged. It was waiting. "Perfect." Admiral Corvex smiled. "We'll take it intact. Study their technology before we destroy it. Signal the fleet to surround the target." 200 ships moved into attack formation. The human vessel did not run. It did not hide. It simply waited as the massive fleet closed in around it. "Open communication channel," the Admiral ordered. The main screen flickered to life. A human face appeared. Ka'ara had seen humans in the war archives, but this one was different. He looked calm, almost bored. "This is Captain Jinha of the human vessel Last Hope," the man said. His voice was steady and quiet. "Can I help you with something?" The bridge fell silent. No one had expected the human to answer. No one had expected him to sound so normal. Admiral Corvex recovered first. "Human, you are surrounded by 200 ships of the hegemony fleet. Surrender immediately or be destroyed." Jinha scratched his chin. 200? That's fewer than last time. Are you sure that's enough? Last time? The Admiral's cybernetic eye glowed red. There was no last time. Your species is extinct. Extinct? Jinha laughed. Who told you that? Oh, right. You probably told yourselves that. Made it easier to sleep at night. Ka'ara watched the human captain's face. There was no fear in his eyes, only curiosity, as if the massive fleet around him was mildly interesting. You have 30 seconds to surrender. Admiral Korvac said. Or what? You'll attack me? Jinha smiled. With 200 ships against one small, damaged vessel? That seems unfair. Unfair to us or to you? Oh, definitely unfair to you. The communication channel went dark. Jinha had cut the connection. Sir, Plixhan called out. The human ship is powering up weapons. All ships, open fire. Admiral, Korvac shouted. The space around the human vessel lit up with energy beams and missiles. 200 ships firing at once created a storm of light and destruction. When the weapons stopped, there should have been nothing left but debris. But the human ship was still there. Impossible, whispered Plixhan. Direct hits from 60 ships. How is it still intact? Thizkaara watched her enhanced sensors. The human ship's shields were adapting. Each energy blast made them stronger. Each missile impact taught them new defenses. Sir, called the weapons officer, the human ship is returning fire. A single beam of light shot out from the last hope. It hit the hegemony destroyer Ironclaw and cut through its shields like they were made of paper. The massive ship exploded in a ball of fire. One ship down. Jinha's voice came over the communication system. 199 to go. Should I count them out loud for you? Admiral Korvac turned to Thizkaara. What is that weapon? How did they penetrate our shields? She looked at her readings. The human weapon was not just powerful, it was learning. Each shot was stronger than the last. Each attack found new weaknesses in the hegemony defenses. I don't know, she said. This technology didn't exist during the war. Another beam from the human ship destroyed a cruiser. Then another. The tiny vessel moved through space like a dancer, avoiding the massive fleet's attacks while its own weapons grew stronger. All ships, focus fire on the engine section, the admiral ordered. The fleet concentrated their attack on the back of the human ship. For a moment, it seemed to work. The vessel slowed down, sparks flying from its hull. Then it started to change. Thizkaara watched in amazement as the human ship's hull began to shift and flow like liquid metal. Damaged sections repaired themselves. New weapon ports opened. The engine section that had been damaged split into 3 separate engines, each one more powerful than the original. By the void, whispered Admiral Korvac. What are we fighting? The human ship's communication system activated again. This time a woman's voice spoke. Captain, we've tested their weapons long enough. Should we show them what we've learned? Go ahead, Harin, Jinha replied, but try not to destroy them all. We need some of them to carry a message back. The human ship stopped moving. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then it began to glow. The light started small, just a flicker around the hull. But it grew brighter and brighter until the entire vessel blazed like a small star. Energy readings spiked beyond anything Thizkaara had ever seen. All ships, retreat, Admiral Korvac shouted. Emergency jump to hyperspace. But it was too late. The human ship released its stored energy in a wave that washed over the entire fleet. Ship after ship went dark as their systems failed, not destroyed, but disabled, floating helplessly in space. Only the flagship Eternal Conquest still had power, and barely enough to maintain life support. Jinha's face appeared on the main screen again. That was just a warning shot. The next one won't be so gentle. What do you want? Admiral Korvac asked. His voice shook with fear. I want you to remember something, Jinha said. 50 years ago, you thought you killed us all. You celebrated. You told yourselves the galaxy was safe from the big bad humans. The human captain's expression hardened. But we don't die easy. We adapt. We survive. We learn. And we remember. The screen shifted to show Harin, a woman with short black hair and scars on her face. We remember every world you burned, every species you enslaved, every life you destroyed in the name of peace. We've been watching you, Jinha continued, learning from you, growing stronger while you grew soft and lazy. Did you really think we'd just disappear? Thizkaara felt something she had not felt in 50 years, hope. But here's the thing. Jinha smiled. We're not like you. We don't destroy entire species just because we can, so I'm going to let most of you go home. You're going to tell your leaders that the humans are back, and then you're going to think very carefully about what comes next. The human ship began to move away from the disabled fleet, but just before it disappeared into hyperspace, Jinha sent a direct message to the flagship's communication system. "Tell your masters," his voice said. "We remember Velyra. We remember what they let happen to your people. Some debts can only be paid in freedom." The message was coded to Theska'ara's personal frequency. Somehow the humans knew who she was. They knew what had happened to her world. As the rescue ships began to arrive, she realized something that made her crystal skin glow with excitement. The humans hadn't just survived the war. They had become something new, something stronger. And they were coming back to finish what the hegemony had started. The hegemony high command chamber was a place of fear. Theska'ara stood in the center of the room, surrounded by the leaders of 12 species. Above her, holographic displays showed the damaged fleet limping back from the dead zone. Supreme, Chancellor Vorth Kek sat on the highest throne. His species, the Dominion, had ruled the galaxy for 300 years. His voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. "Explain to us, Velyran, how one human ship defeated 200 of our finest vessels." Theska'ara kept her head down. "Their technology has advanced beyond our understanding. They have learned to adapt their weapons during combat." "Adapt?" General Zaxmore laughed. The reptilian sword's teeth were sharp and yellow. "No species can advance that quickly. It's impossible. The humans are not like other species," she said quietly. "No, they are not." Chancellor Vorth Kek leaned forward. "They are dangerous, unpredictable. This is why we destroyed them 50 years ago. But it seems we did not finish the job." High Inquisitor Nelvar stepped forward. The pale, thin creature wore black robes that hid most of his body. "The Velyran has been contaminated by exposure to human technology. Her judgment cannot be trusted." "Perhaps," the Chancellor said, "but her contamination makes her useful. She understands their patterns. She will help us find their weaknesses." "What do you want me to do?" Theska'ara asked. "You will decode their tactical systems, study their ship designs, find us a way to destroy them permanently." The Chancellor's eyes glowed red. "The galaxy will not live in fear of Deathworlders again." They gave her a new laboratory deep inside the flagship. The room was filled with computers and analysis equipment. Guards stood outside the door at all times. She was a prisoner, but a useful one. For 3 days she studied the data from the battle. The human ship had used technology that seemed impossible. Weapons that grew stronger with each shot, shields that learned from every attack, hull plating that repaired itself. On the 4th day, she found something strange in the ship's waste disposal system. The computer had labeled it as garbage, but when she looked closer, she saw it was not garbage at all. It was a person, a Krillian engineer who had been working on the ship for months. But that was impossible. The Krillians were part of the hegemony. They would never work with humans. She enhanced the image with her crystal implant. The Krillian's biosignature was wrong. His DNA patterns were too perfect. His bone structure was slightly different. This was not a Krillian at all. This was a human wearing a disguise. That night, the disguised human came to her laboratory. "Hello, Theska'ara," he said in perfect Krillian language. "My name is Quan. We need to talk." She looked at the guards outside her door. They were asleep, at their posts. "What did you do to them?" "Sleep gas. They'll wake up in a few hours with headaches." Quan removed his disguise mask, revealing a human face. "Don't worry. I'm not here to hurt you. How long have you been on this ship?" 6 months. I've been watching you work, learning about your people. Jinha was right about you." "Jinha knows about me?" Quan smiled. "He knows about all of you. Every species in the hegemony. Every world they've conquered. Every people they've enslaved." He activated a small device and holographic images filled the room. The images showed worlds she had never seen. Green planets with clean air and water. Cities where different species lived together without fear. children playing in gardens under alien suns. These are the worlds we've been liberating, Quan said. While the hegemony thought we were dead, we've been freeing the people they left behind. One image made her gasp. It showed a crystal city built into a mountain. Velyran architecture, her people's architecture. Impossible, she whispered. My people are gone, Velyra was destroyed. Your homeworld was destroyed, Quan said. But not. All your people were on it. We found refugee ships. Survivors who had fled before the attack. They're alive, this Ka'ara. Your people are alive. She fell to her knees. For 50 years she had believed she was the last of her kind. The loneliness had been like a poison in her heart. Why are you showing me this? She asked. Because we need your help. The hegemony is planning something big, a final attack on human space. They're building a weapon that could destroy entire star systems. Quan showed her new images. Technical diagrams of a massive space station. Weapon systems that use quantum energy to tear holes in reality itself. The Omega Protocol, she breathed. I've heard rumors, but I thought it was just a legend. It's real, and they're almost finished building it. Quan's expression was serious. We can stop them, but we need someone inside the hegemony command structure, someone who can access their quantum networks. You want me to betray everything I've worked for? I want you to save everything you've worked for. Quan touched her shoulder gently. Your people, the other enslaved species, even the hegemony soldiers who don't know they're fighting for monsters. This Ka'ara looked at the images of her people. Alive, free, happy. What would I have to do? Help us get the location of the Omega Station, and when the time comes, use your abilities to disable the hegemony fleet's communication systems. That would be treason. They'll execute me. Maybe. Or maybe you'll live to see your people free again. Quan's eyes were kind, but determined. That's always been the human choice. Die on your knees or live on your feet. She thought about Jinha's message. About the humans remembering what had happened to Velyra. About the debt that could only be paid in freedom. If I help you, what happens to the galaxy? The same thing that happened to your people. The same thing that happened to every species the hegemony conquered. Quan smiled. They get to choose their own path for the first time in centuries. This Ka'ara stood up. Her crystal skin glowed brighter than it had in years. What do you need me to do? For the next 2 hours, Quan explained the human plan. It was insane, impossible, suicidal. It was also the most beautiful thing she had ever heard. When he was ready to leave, she grabbed his arm. Quan, why do you do this? Why? Do humans fight so hard for people you barely know? He was quiet for a moment. Because someone has to. Because when you see suffering, you either help or you become part of the problem. He smiled. Besides, we're too stupid to know when something is impossible. After he left, Thais Ka'ara began her real work. She accessed the hegemony's deepest files using her crystal implant, security codes, fleet positions, the location of the Omega Station. As she worked, she thought about her people, alive, free, waiting for her. The hegemony had told her they saved her, but they had never told her what they saved her from. Now she knew. They had saved her from freedom, from choice, from hope. 3 days later, the alarm started screaming. Security Chief Nal Kess burst into her laboratory with a squad of soldiers. Treason, he screeched. You have been accessing classified files. You have been in contact with human agents. They dragged her away in chains, but she was smiling. The data had already been transmitted. Jinha knew where to find the Omega Station. As they threw her into a prison cell, she heard explosions in the distance. The human fleet had arrived. The final battle was about to begin. And for the first time in 50 years, Thais Ka'ara believed her people might win. The prison cell was cold and dark. Thais Ka'ara sat on the metal floor listening to the sounds of battle outside. Explosions shook the massive flagship. Emergency lights flashed red and white. Through the small window, she could see space filled with fire. The human fleet had come for her. 50 small ships against 10,000 hegemony vessels. It should have been suicide, but the humans were winning. She watched a human ship dance between laser blasts from a dozen hegemony cruisers. The ship moved like it was alive, dodging and spinning in patterns that made no sense. Then it fired once, and 3 enemy ships exploded. "Impossible," she whispered. "That's what everyone says about us." She turned around. Jinha stood outside her cell holding the keys. The lock clicked open. "How did you get here?" she asked. "I walked. Your guards were busy running away." Jinha helped her stand. "Are you hurt?" "No." "But how did you find me?" "Quan told us where. They were keeping you. He's leading a team to disable the ship's main weapons." Jinha smiled. "We don't leave people behind." They ran through the corridors of the flagship. All around them, hegemony soldiers were surrendering. But they weren't surrendering to humans. They were surrendering to their own people. A group of Krillian engineers had taken control of the engine room. Fourth-hand technicians were sabotaging the weapon systems. Even some Saurid Marines were fighting against their own officers. "What's happening?" Thaiskara asked. "Revolution," Jinha said. "Turns out a lot of species don't like being slaves. They just needed someone to show them it was possible to fight back." They reached the bridge. The doors were sealed, but Jinha pulled out a small device. The lock melted like butter. Inside, Supreme Chancellor Vorth Kek stood alone. All his guards were gone. All his advisors had fled. He looked old and frightened. "So the Death Worlder comes to gloat," he said. "Actually, I came to make you an offer," Jinha replied. "Surrender now, and your people can join the new galaxy we're building. Keep fighting, and they'll have to choose between you and freedom. You cannot win. I have activated the Omega Protocol. The weapon will fire in 10 minutes. It will destroy your entire fleet and everything within 100 light years." Jinha looked worried for the first time. "Thaiskara, can you stop it?" She moved to the command console. Her crystal implant connected to the ship's quantum network. The Omega station was massive, hidden in the dark space between stars. Its weapon could tear holes in reality itself. "I can try," she said. "But I need time." "We don't have time." The Chancellor laughed. "In 8 minutes you will all be dead." Jinha grabbed the Chancellor by his robes. "How do we stop it?" "You can't. The weapon requires quantum authorization from 3 High Command members. They are on different ships across the galaxy. Even if you could reach them, they would never surrender the codes." Thaiskara was deep in the network now. She could see the weapon charging, feel the terrible power building, but she could also see something else. "Jinha," she called out. "The weapon doesn't just need authorization codes, it needs someone to target it. Someone has to tell it what to destroy." "So?" she smiled. "So I'm going to tell it what to destroy." Her consciousness flowed through the quantum network like water. She found the Omega Station's targeting system and began to change the coordinates. Not to target the human fleet, but to target itself. The Chancellor saw what she was doing. "Stop her. She's turning the weapon on the station." "Can't do that," Jinha said. "I'm too busy being impressed." Thaiskara felt the weapon's power building. The targeting system tried to fight her, but her crystal physiology let her interface with quantum technology in ways no other species could. She was rewriting the weapon's very purpose. 2 minutes, the Chancellor screamed. "Thaiskara," Jinha said quietly. "Can you do this?" "Yes," she said. "But I need you to send a message to the entire galaxy. Tell them what's happening. Tell them why." Jinha activated the ship's communication system. His voice went out to every world, every species, every person in hegemony space. "This is Captain Jinha of the human fleet. In 1 minute, the hegemony's ultimate weapon will fire, but it won't be destroying us. It will be destroying itself. And with it, the fear that has kept you enslaved for 300 years. On her console, Thaiskara watched the final countdown. The weapon was ready. The targeting was locked. She had one chance to get this right. The hegemony told you that order was more important than freedom, Jinha continued. That safety was more important than choice. They were wrong. And today you get to prove it. 30 seconds, Thizka'ara called out. To every species listening to this broadcast, Jinha said, you have a choice. You can keep living on your knees, or you can stand up and choose your own path. We can't force you to be free, but we can show you that it's possible. 10 seconds, she said. And to the hegemony leaders still fighting. Jinha's voice grew hard. Remember this moment. Remember that humans don't just survive impossible odds. We turn them into opportunities. Firing now, the Omega Station's weapon discharged, but instead of destroying the human fleet, it tore the massive station apart. The explosion was visible from 1,000 light-years away. The bridge fell silent. Then Chancellor Vorthkek collapsed into his chair. It's over, he whispered. 300 years of order. Gone. No, Thizka'ara said, pulling her consciousness back from the network. 300 years of fear. Gone. Now we can build something better. Over the communication system, reports began coming in from across the galaxy. On Krelos Prime, the colonial government had declared independence. The Vorthan homeworld was expelling hegemony forces. Even some Saurid worlds were joining the rebellion. It's working, Jinha said. They're choosing freedom. What happens now? Thizka'ara asked. Now we help them build the galaxy they want to live in. It won't be easy. Freedom never is. Jinha smiled. But that's what makes it worth fighting. 4? A new voice came over the communication system. It was Harin speaking from the human fleet. Jinha, we're getting surrender requests from 2,000 hegemony ships. What should we do? Accept them. Help them find their way home. And Harin? Yes? Send word to the liberated worlds. Tell them the last daughter of Velyra has come home. Thizka'ara felt tears on her crystal cheeks. For the first time in 50 years, she was not alone. Her people were free. The galaxy was free. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you, Jinha replied. You showed us that courage isn't about being human. It's about choosing to do what's right even when it's impossible. Through the bridge windows, she could see the stars. The same stars that had watched her people die. The same stars that had seen species after species kneel before the hegemony. But now those stars were watching something new. They were watching the birth of a galaxy where every species could choose its own destiny. The humans had been called Deathworlders because the galaxy thought death was what they brought. They had been wrong. Humans brought something far more dangerous than death. They brought hope. And hope, once lit, could never be extinguished. Thizka'ara looked at Jinha and smiled. What do we do now? Now, he said, we teach the galaxy what it means to be free. Outside, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter.